So apparently, I was wrong. A couple videos ago, I made the claim that this idea that Chuck picked up Sir Robert Anderson's work and put it in his own presentation was false. Apparently, that's false. I'm a little shocked and disappointed by this information, not because I'm having to come on here and say that I was wrong about something, simply because the spirit with which I do this channel is that I want to make sure that you have the most accurate information possible so that you can make your own informed conclusions. And so with that, it's really how this channel started. Back in 2016, my second video, I presented some information that was incorrect, and once I detected that information was wrong, my fourth video that I made was a response to that, correcting the information that I presented. And with my 50 to 100 subs that I had back then, that video ended up getting 20,000 views in the first 2 weeks that it was published. So I don't have a problem with making sure that if something that I said or I misspoke or something like that, that doesn't bother me. But as it relates to this, what I do find interesting is that for me, when I saw this information, I could overtly tell that it had problems with it, problems with the calculations and problems with the dates. And so for Chuck to not see this is very surprising and / disappointing for me, considering how studied he was, thorough, and fact-based. But instead of scrutinizing this information, he uses it and expands upon it in his presentation on Daniel's 70th week. And we can clearly see that the dates that he uses is the same ones that we see Sir Robert Anderson used in his book, The Coming Prince. So, yeah, I'm just kind of shocked by that. I also find it interesting that he points out up here, we see he puts the Septuagint was written 300 years earlier, so that when it comes to the day counts in this calculation, that they're actually perfect, that there could be no funny business going on, because now this information is now locked in the Septuagint. And if I was to go off of that, I have to point out the fact that if we go back to Heather's timeline, she uses the 480 years that you see in 1 Kings chapter 6 to do her calculation. Is it 480 years, or is it what the Septuagint says, which is 440 years? Obviously, you're going to pick the data that fits your timeline, and you're not going to say, wait a minute, there might be a problem here. Not only that, but as it relates to even Chuck's presentation, where he basically says how perfect the day counts are, if he's going to use the exchange between Artaxerxes and Nehemiah in Nehemiah chapter 2, you need to be honest and say you don't know what day that took place on. We're not given a day. We're just told that it happened in the month of Nisan. It didn't say anything about the 1st of Nisan or anything like that. It just says in the month of Nisan. So if it happened on, say, Nisan the 17th, well, now your calculations are off by 17 days. And obviously, they're going to be off on Heather's timeline because she's saying the 10th of Nisan when Sir Robert Anderson says the 1st of Nisan. So just another problem with that whole thing. The other problem with it is, as much as we respect Chuck's work over the years, it is a logical fallacy to sort of drop his name. So that's why that was another reason why it doesn't matter. If the data can't stand on its own, then it doesn't matter whose name you attach it to. So in this particular situation, just because Chuck presented the information does not make it accurate. Now, we've got our bias, and we've got our bias towards the work that Chuck Missler did. And so when he does a presentation, we're most likely inclined to trust what it is that he is saying. But that goes back to my disappointment in this, and that, how many other things did he present that we have taken as really fact-based and well-studied and thorough, that just a little bit of scrutiny can tear the whole thing apart.